Hello everyone. We have seen different kinds of spectroscopies like rotational, infrared and Raman spectroscopies. Today we will be discussing another kind of absorption spectroscopy, that is electronic spectroscopy, which is also known as UV visible spectroscopy. In this video we will have an introduction to electronic spectroscopy and we'll be discussing an important principle, namely Frank-Condon principle, that helps to predict the intensities of different types of electronic transitions. First, let's see what is electronic spectroscopy. We have seen that in rotational spectroscopy, the molecules are interacting with the electromagnetic radiation in the microwave region, thereby causing changes in the rotational energy levels. Whereas in vibrational spectroscopy, the molecules are interacting with electromagnetic radiation in the infrared region, thereby causing changes in the vibrational energy levels. Similarly, in electronic spectroscopy, the molecules are interacting with the electromagnetic radiation in the ultraviolet visible region and causes the promotion of electrons from the ground state to a higher energy state. Since the radiation is absorbed in the ultraviolet visible region, the electronic spectroscopy is also known as ultraviolet visible spectroscopy or simply UV visible spectroscopy. And we know that the range of UV visible spectra in the electromagnetic spectrum, it is from 100 to 8000 angstrom, or we can say it's from 10 to 800 nanometers. The 10 to 400 nanometers constitutes the ultraviolet region, that is UV region, and from 400 to 800 nanometers that constitutes the visible region. Radiation having wavelength less than 200 nanometers are commonly not used for structural analysis, and energies in the range 200 to 800 nanometers are usually used, and the radiation in this region are sufficient to excite an electron to a higher electronic energy level. So the spectroscopy carried out in this region, that is from 200 to 800 nanometers, is called electronic spectroscopy because it causes the transitions between the electronic energy levels. And since the radiation is absorbed in the UV visible region, this is also called UV visible spectroscopy. And the absorption of radiation in this region by the molecules entirely depends upon the electronic structure of the molecule. And that means this spectroscopy provides valuable information regarding the molecular structure. Now let's discuss the theory of electronic spectroscopy. Here we will be considering the electronic spectra of diatomic molecules. We know that according to Born-Oppenheimer approximation, the total energy of the molecule is given by E total equals E electronic plus E vibrational plus E rotational. Here we have not considered the translational energy because it is not quantized. The electronic, vibrational and rotational energies are quantized. So we have considered only these three. Okay. So delta epsilon total, that is the change in the total energy, will be equal to delta epsilon electronic plus delta epsilon vibrational plus delta epsilon rotational in centimeter inverse. The magnitude of change in energies has the order delta epsilon electronic greater than delta epsilon vibrational greater than delta epsilon rotational. That means the separation between the electronic energy levels will be greater than the vibrational energy levels and again greater than the rotational energy levels. That means whenever an electronic transition takes place, that will always be accompanied by simultaneous vibrational and rotational energy changes. And we know that delta E equals h nu, which is equal to hc nu bar, where h is the Planck's constant, c is the velocity of light, nu is the frequency and nu bar is the wave number. Or hc nu bar is equal to delta E, which is equal to the sum of these three energies, or we can represent the wave number corresponding to the electronic transition as Nu bar equals delta E electronic plus delta E vibrational plus delta E rotational by Hc in centimeter inverse. As I said earlier, since the electronic energy is much greater than the vibrational and rotational energy, the spectra of electronic transitions will consist of a vibrational coarse structure and rotational fine structure. Or to put in simple words, an electronic spectrum will consist of vibrational transitions as well as rotational transitions. And because of the simultaneous changes in the vibrational and rotational energies, the electronic spectra will consist of a number of lines which are very closely spaced. And hence, the electronic spectra is often referred to as band spectra. Here you can see UV visible spectrum of benzene, and this broad peak shows the maximum absorbance. So each electronic transition produces a number of lines which consist of vibrational transitions as well as different rotational transitions. So all these lines will be very closely spaced and merged together so that the spectrum usually appear in the form of broad bands. And that's why the electronic spectrum is also referred to as band spectrum. Now, what all kind of molecules will show electronic spectrum? We have seen that homonuclear diatomic molecules will not show rotational and vibrational spectrum because they do not possess any dipole moment. But electronic spectra are given by all molecules, whether it is homonuclear or heteronuclear, because changes in the electron distribution in a molecule are always accompanied by a dipole change. Electronic transitions means a rearrangement or redistribution of electrons take place. So this redistribution or rearrangement of electrons will always be accompanied by a dipole change. That means all kinds of molecules like a homonuclear diatomic molecules or heteronuclear diatomic molecules, etc., will show electronic spectra. We have discussed that the electronic spectra will consist of vibrational transitions as well as rotational transitions. Here we will be discussing only the vibrational coarse structure or vibrational transitions, and we will be neglecting the rotational part. Okay. So here you can see the vibrational coarse structure of a band formed during electronic absorption from the ground state to a higher state. Usually we represent the ground state with a double prime. So here you can see V double dash. So these are the vibrational levels, different vibrational levels in the ground electronic state, and that is represented as a double prime, and here it is epsilon double dash electronic. Lower lines represents the ground electronic state. In that ground electronic state you can see different vibrational levels represented as V double dash equals 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And the upper part shows the excited electronic state or a higher electronic state. The higher electronic state or the higher vibrational state is usually represented as a single prime. Okay, that is V dash equals 0 or epsilon dash electronic. Okay, so this is how we generally represent, and these lines shows the vibrational transitions between different vibrational levels. The transitions are labeled according to their V dash, V double dash numbers. V dash represents the higher state and V double dash is the lower state. Okay, that is 0, 0. If the transition is taking place from V double dash equals 0 to V dash equals 0, this one. So this is represented as 0, 0 transition. So similarly 2, 0, 3, 0, etc. So such a set of transitions is called a band. Now, when we look at this picture, we can see that in the higher electronic state, when the value of V dash increases, the line spacing becomes less. Or we can say the lines in a band crowd together more closely at higher frequencies. So here you can see that the spacing goes on decreasing at higher transitions. So this is due to the anharmonicity of the upper state vibration. We have discussed about anharmonicity while explaining the vibrational spectra of an harmonic oscillator, right? So this crowding is due to the anharmonicity of the upper state vibrations, which causes the excited vibrational levels to converge or to become more close together. So these are the features of the vibrational coarse structure found in electronic spectrum. Now let's discuss in detail the nature of a vibrational electronic spectra, how the intensity varies, and how it is explained using Frank-Condon principle. Each electronic level has its characteristic potential energy diagram, which can be represented by a Morse curve. Again, we have seen this kind of Morse curve in vibrational spectroscopy. The vibrational spectra of an enharmonic oscillator, we represented it using a Morse curve. So here, the green curve is the Morse curve representing the ground electronic state, and these horizontal lines represents the different vibrational levels marked as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. The position of the minimum in the potential energy curve, so here, shows the changes in the bond distance and the dissociation energy of the molecule. This dashed line represents the dissociation limit, and the difference between this upper limit and the minimum in the energy is the dissociation energy. So this green line represents a Morse curve for the molecule in the ground electronic state. The red line is the Morse curve for the excited electronic state. So here we are assuming that the molecule is stable in the ground state as well as in the higher energy state or excited state. So the transition will be taking place from the vibrational levels in the ground electronic state, usually from V double dash equal to 0, because that is the lowest energy state. So from there to the vibrational levels in the excited electronic state. While discussing the rotational and vibrational spectroscopies, we have seen some quantum mechanical selection rules that delta J equals plus or minus 1 or delta V equals plus or minus 1, etc. But in electronic spectroscopy, there is no particular selection rule for the change in vibrational quantum number as the molecule undergoes an electronic transition. That means every V double dash to V dash transition has some probability. But not all transitions are equally intense and equally probable. So how can we say which transition will occur or which one will be more intense? Because all transitions are possible since there is no selection rule. So in order to explain this, two scientists, J. Frank in 1925 and Condon in 1926, put forward some qualitative arguments to explain the various types of intensity distributions found in vibronic transitions, that is electronic transitions. And they said that the transition from one curve to another curve, that is from one state to another state, occurs so quickly that the atoms do not get a chance to move appreciably by the time it takes place. And as a result, the transition tends to take place vertically upward or downward. And this result is called Frank-Condon principle. The time required for electronic transition is very small when compared to the time required for the nuclei to vibrate or oscillate. And as a result, the internuclear distance remains fixed or constant during the transition. The electronic transitions can therefore be shown by vertical lines. So on the left hand side represents the vertical transitions. Only this kind of transitions are allowed. On the right hand side, it's a slanted type, and these are not allowed according to Frank-Condon principle. So Frank-Condon principle can be stated as an electronic transition takes place so rapidly that a vibrating molecule does not change its internuclear distance appreciably during the transition. We have seen that an electronic transition is always accompanied by changes in the vibrational and rotational energy levels. But since the electronic transition takes place so fast, the molecule will not get a chance to change its internuclear distance during the transition. So that is considered to be fixed, or it will remain constant during the transition. So this is called Franck-Condon principle. Now let's see how Franck-Condon principle explains the intensities of different kinds of transitions. So let's consider different cases. So case 1 is the upper electronic state having the same equilibrium internuclear distance as the lower. Okay. So this is the lower electronic state represented as epsilon double dash. This is the upper electronic state represented as epsilon dash. So in each of these electronic state there will be different vibrational levels. And the first case is both the lower and the upper electronic state having the same equilibrium internuclear distance. And according to Franck-Condon principle, only vertical transitions are allowed, and that is shown in this diagram. The transition occurs vertically from the lower electronic state to the higher electronic state. And this one will be the most probable transition. So here the transition is taking place from V double dash equal to 0, which is the lowest energy state. Most of the molecules will be in the ground state, ground vibrational state. So from V double dash equal to 0 to V dash equal to 0 will be the most probable transition when both the lower and the upper electronic state are having the same equilibrium internuclear distance. And the strongest spectral line will be the 0, 0. 0, 0 means V dash equals 0, V double dash equal to 0. So 0, 0 line will be the most intense spectral line. This picture shows the intensities of lines. The most intense will be 0, 0 line. Along with the transition to V dash equal to 0 level, other transitions are also possible. That is, from V double dash is equal to 0 to V dash equals 1, V dash equal to, V dash equal to 3 are also possible. But their intensity will be less. So that is represented here, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, etc. In this case, the most intense will be the 0, 0 transition followed by 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, etc. And this type of band system is observed in the oxygen molecule. So this diagram represents the probability distribution for a diatomic molecule according to quantum theory. And this graph represents the variation of xi square with equilibrium internuclear distance. Xi is the wave function. Xi square represents the probability density of the nuclei. So at the lowest level, that is at V is equal to 0 level, xi square is represented like this. That is the maxima is at the midpoint. That means the nuclei is most likely to be found here. Whereas when the value of V increases, that is at xi1 square, xi2 square, xi3 square, etc., the nuclei are most likely to be found at the extreme positions, as you can see here. Or we say that the nuclei are most likely to be found at the turning points. Since at xi0 square, the nuclei spend most of the time in this midpoint, that's why here we are representing the transition from the midpoint here. V double dash is equal from the midpoint of the V double dash is equal to 0 to the midpoint of the V dash is equal to 0. Now let's discuss the second case. Here, the upper state internuclear distance is less than that of the lower state. According to Franck-Condon principle, only vertical transitions are possible. And again, at V double dash is equal to 0 state, the nuclei spend most of the time at the midpoint. So, to represent the vertical transition from the midpoint, the transition occurs vertically to one of the higher vibrational levels. So, here from V double dash is equal to 0 to V dash equals 2. So this will be the most probable transition. That is from V double dash equals 0 to V dash equal to 2. Why to this end? Because as V increases, the nuclei spend most of the time at the extreme positions or at the turning points. That's why here at the midpoint, it undergoes transition vertically to the extreme ends of the higher vibrational level. That is at V dash is equal to 2. and the intensity will be like this. The most intense will be 2, 0. The other transitions may also be possible, but that will be of lesser intensity. We can also discuss a similar case, which is case 3, that is the upper state internuclear distance a little greater than that of the lower state. So here it is a greater internuclear distance. When transition occurs vertically, so from the midpoint of the V double dash is equal to 0 to the higher vibrational state, again at the extreme end of the V dash is equal to 2 state. So similar to case 2, here also the transition will be taking place from V double dash equal to 0 to V dash is equal to 2, and this will be the most probable transition and the most intense transition. And the other transitions will be of less intensity, and this kind of band system is observed in the CO molecule, carbon monoxide. And now let's see case 4. Here the upper state internuclear distance is very much greater than that of the lower state. Now in this situation, the transition occurs vertically upwards to a higher vibrational level. As I said earlier, this top horizontal line represents the dissociation limit. So when the molecule reaches this dissociation limit, the excited molecule has energy in excess of its own dissociation energy. And when it possesses excess energy, what happens? The molecule will dissociate into atoms. So it will dissociate without any vibrations. So here the transitions will not be quantized. All other vibrational energy levels are quantized, but when it reaches the dissociation limit, such a transition will not be quantized because the molecule is dissociating into atoms, and the atoms will move apart with any value of kinetic energy. So since it is having any value of kinetic energy, that means the transitions are not quantized and a continuum will result, as you can see in this picture. And this kind of transition you can see in the iodine molecule. We will discuss about the dissociation energy and dissociation products in the next class. So this is the case 4, where the upper state is considerably greater than the lower state. The transition will be taking place to the very high vibrational level, which reaches the dissociation limit. The molecule will dissociate into atoms without any vibrations. The transitions will not be quantized and a continuum results. So this is how Frank quantum principle explains the intensities of different types of electronic transitions. The Frank quantum principle is generally valid and is important in calculating the energies and intensities of transitions in electronic spectroscopy.